Hello and welcome to the Enquiry podcast. My name is Nerida Mills. I am your host, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you along for this episode. What we do in the Enquiry podcast is really explore and inquire with experts in their field in regards to what it is that actually creates a human experience, and more importantly, what it is that we can use to influence the human experience for our own development, growth, and expansion. So welcome along. Let's dive in, and I hope you enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Enquiry podcast. My name is Nerida Mills. I'm your host. I am very, very excited to have with me today Lina Farfan, and she is an incredible mushroom lover, expert, and sharer, is what I'm going to say. I met Lina a few years ago now, and I absolutely love who you are as a person. You're an incredible human being, always an enjoyable time whenever we spend time together, but also your real in-depth knowledge and expertise in regards to all things fungi is just next level. So I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today, and thank you so much for spending your time with us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited. I'm a bit nervous, but it's, as soon as I start talking about fungi, everything just disappears.
Everything takes over. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're a microbiologist, obviously,
Yeah.
a business owner. So give us a little bit of a background as to who is Lina and what brings you to where you are in your life now. And I'm just going to apologize to everybody in advance. I've got a bit of a runny nose, so if the tissues come out, that's what's going on.
Well, basically, yeah, so you say I'm a microbiologist and I'm from Colombia, so you guys might realize about my accent. So yeah, I grew up between a city and my parents' farm. So I was kind of always in contact with nature, and I was always fascinated by things around me, and then I think in high school I had a biology teacher, and she was just so like enthusiastic, and she just loved science. And she was a microbiologist, and we had a tiny like 2 classes in microbiology, but the love that this woman had, it was so inspiring. And at the time I was starting to think, oh, in back in Latin America, you really have a pressure to finish school, go to uni, like just everything, like don't stop educating and getting into the path of like degrees. And so I was starting to think, and I knew it was had to be something related to nature. But then I think this teacher really inspired me. So yeah, I went to study microbiology back in Colombia. I did my degree. And yeah, and then also then the fascination for fungi really kind of started to click back at university, starting to run experiments, starting to see just more in depth what the research has said about fungi and how they helping and how they also create diseases, especially for crops, because that's kind of the area where I have spent most of my time, like in crops and fungi affecting crops. But then I came to Australia and as a student, and I just wanted to learn, but always had that itch to get back into a lab and just do some science. And then I got into, I started volunteering in a lab for one of the universities, and I've been there ever since. And yeah, and then I've been working with fungi for over 13 years, and it's the magic behind it, the magic behind their genomes, like everything that is in the genes. And I'm just fascinated by how quick they evolve and how quick they adapt. And I think that's what is like inspires me, like the way they adapt, the way they just, whatever comes for them is like, don't worry, we'll find a way.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've just kind of answered my next question, which is what is it that you love about fungi? Because obviously, And I would love for you to talk into the business that you run as well and how you've taken your passion in fungi and mushrooms and actually turned it into something that is profitable and moving forward and actually helping people. And so I just love if you could connect into that conversation, what it is that really kind of intrigues you the most about fungi.
Yeah. Well, I think I was getting very intrigued about fungi when we started to do the research with them. And it was because the way they were changing, like we were looking a lot at the genes and like how like the arrangement of genes and how these genes help these fungi survive in the fields, like in crops. And basically, it's just so fascinating the way within seasons they change. They have the capacity to change so quickly. And kind of also, fungi are very closely related to humans in terms of
Mm,
the genetic assembly of them. We are actually closer to fungi sometimes than even some animals.
wow.
So I started to ask myself, because at the time I also started my journey into personal development, and I was asking, like, if we are so close to them, to fungi, and they have that ability to change so quickly, how about us?
Mm,
As humans, how about ourselves? How about our genetics? If do they have the same capacity to change as quickly
mm.
as fungi do? So and then yeah, like that journey of starting to inquire in also myself, and I every step I was just seeing how I was trying to separate like the personal development of myself to the science. And every single turn, it was coming back together again. And it was something that I couldn't separate. And that's kind of when it started. Okay, so how can I make a difference? How can I be of more direct service, far not only by the science that I do at the university, but how can I really feel that I'm really being of service directly to people? And that's when I started kind of asking, okay, how can I provide this service? And I
Mm.
started to get into creating a business and just supporting people with my love for fungi in another more direct way.
Yeah, beautiful. So tell us about your business. So what do you do? What do you offer?
Yeah, so basically, my business is called Fungi and Us. So it's about like the fungi and our interaction. As I said, like we are so connected. And what I do is through the power of medicinal mushrooms, I produce products that have been scientifically backed. There is a lot of science behind it. One of my first products is Lionsmane, which I think is quite popular at the moment. It's all about the brain and brain health and how can we support our brain as we get older. So yeah, basically I just produce these products for the like supplements, and yeah, I just put it to the public and I just share my love and the knowledge, and just that's my way of
Yeah,
providing
beautiful.
a
I love
service.
that.
Yeah.
And so obviously, like with mushrooms being so adaptable, does that mean that when we take the mushrooms, it helps us to become adaptable? Do we take on those attributes of the mushroom? Is
Yeah.
that how it works?
Yeah, exactly. So we basically, yeah, we like they help us with like some of the components that are inside of the fungi that are very nutritional for us. And then, these nutritional components are helping our cells and our brain in the case of lion's mane, and of course immune system and all of that. And basically I feel we are like they put in that power into us by
Mm,
basically we ingesting them. And as always, is like what we eat is, what our body will take and how is it going to be expressed as well. But what I also tell people a lot is just not about taking another supplement and just put it in there and hope for a miracle. It's actually the intention behind.
mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because mushrooms can be quite ceremonial as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we can look at it in the spiritual medicine space also. And so obviously, like, lion's mane isn't necessarily psilocybin mushroom. But do you feel it the benefit of treating it in the same way with the same level of
Yeah.
reverence?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, and that is a hot topic at the moment, like psychedelics and how are they shaping the brain and helping. We're just discovering like what all the indigenous and native people have known for thousands of years, the way they help, and we just start. The science is starting to catch up with what is being said, but again is the same, is the intention, is the reverence, is the respect for nature. For me, fungi have, because they've been in here for millions of years, probably one of the first cells that was able to survive was a fungi cell. So they have had that interaction with our mother nature for so long. So I believe that in their genetics, they have got all of that knowledge. And in the moment that we go into ceremony with mushrooms, in the case of psychedelic mushrooms, we are also harnessing that power, but it's all about the respect. It's so much respect that it has to be present in those
Agreed.
journeys. With
Definitely
the
agree.
plants as well.
Yeah, for sure. What do you feel like is the most like misunderstood thing about fungi?
I think, I mean, I'm gonna say for the recent, a lot of media publicity behind cases with toxic mushrooms, and sometimes
Oh, the lady in Tassie.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. And I believe that is very sad because for a lot of people, that's the only understanding of fungi. And the way they portrayed it, they say, oh, all of mushrooms are this, like, they kill people, blah, blah, blah. But there's no that distinction between, okay, yeah, there are some that are toxic and we have to be very mindful of them, but there are others that are helping us beyond our comprehension. So I think is that especially the media, the mass media doesn't make that correlate, that separation so that people is clear and get the understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think in regards to sort of how, because I think humans' relationship with mushrooms have evolved, over time. And obviously we are at a time period where psilocybin mushrooms is gaining more respect in regards to the medicinal properties. And mushrooms like the lion's mane has gained a lot of respect in recent years in regards to what it's actually able to do for brain health and prevention of brain diseases and things. Where do you see it evolving?
I think, look, but probably this is my dream, but I just see mushrooms and fungi as a key component for every aspect that we get into. For me, I believe that they have such clarity of problem solving, and they are a piece of every puzzle in terms of anything that humanity is facing. Any issue is, I'm not saying is just the absolute solution to everything, but definitely is a key component, especially in terms of mental health,
Yeah.
in terms of opening our minds to the things we don't usually see, especially the shadow parts of us, because once we bring light into it, everything is going to have a ripple effect in our communities, in our politics, in everything. So that's the way I see it. I just see them as a huge component of bringing light into all of those dark places.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I'm just reflecting back on my own relationship with mushrooms, right? And in my early 20s, I was learning meditation and I was being guided spiritually by an Indian yogic monk, and he advised to not consume mushrooms because everything that we were doing at that time was for the evolution of the mind into the higher realms, right? But there was a lot of, when I look back now, I can see that there was a lot of avoidance of the shadow and there was a disassociation away from the shadow and to like just stay in the light, stay in the light. And that has its place. I'm not saying it doesn't, but you do miss a piece of yourself in that, right? And what's interesting to me is just thinking about mushrooms. Like mushrooms can survive in pretty
Yeah.
much all environments, right? They can thrive in the darkness, they can thrive in the light. They are the communication pathway between much of nature as well, if we think about the brain. And just, yeah, I'm just noticing like how I mean, they really are important for every aspect of life on this planet as it stands right now. So it would make
Assistance,
sense
yeah.
that it would be part of the solution for the problems that we seek as well. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like that's one of the sites that sometimes I feel, oh, if we were able to talk how they, for example, the importance in just nature. They are literally the little guys communicating trees hundreds of kilometers away, or like sending information. A lot of people call it is the internet of nature, what fungi are, but it's true, like they exchanging information. That's which was one of the things that also really fascinated me by the research,
Yes. Oh,
because
interesting.
they are exchanging so much information with everything that is around them. Like, for example, we sometimes see evidence of fungi that are capable to survive to certain chemicals are transferring this information to other fungi so that
Yeah.
they are able to survive. So the collaboration
Wow.
behind fungi is like, whoa, they're
Next
way
level.
ahead of us.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
And even that is so basic, like in terms of what our knowledge, but I believe like in that basic knowledge is where the key for a lot of the solutions
Yeah,
are.
always. Truth is in simplicity, right?
In simplicity, yeah.
The Okay, so from a biological standpoint, what part of them allows for that communication?
Basically it's just the interaction. So they have to they produce and they release a lot of chemicals out of their cells, but they also at the time they are like big antennas in the end of what is called the mycelia. Is the part we don't usually see, but it's kind of like this white net that we sometimes see under trees when we move the soil, or like in dead wood. And basically it's like is which is very similar to the way our neurons look, because it's
Yeah.
like these little antennas at the end, and they're all the time surveying, they're all the time looking at what's going on around it, the water, the temperature, like what nutrients are in the soil and all of that. So they basically, that's the way they communicate. And
Mm.
then of course they have the capacity for with other fungi, so they can fuse the mycelium, they can kind of like touch each other and find ways to exchange the genetic material or the genes.
Wow.
So is that way, like they just always alert, they
It's like
always
a
look.
constant evolution and adaptation.
Yeah, and
Mm.
they just spread out so quickly. So parts that are communicating 100 of kilometers away, they're still communicating and transporting chemicals and transporting nutrients into itself, so that it says, okay, so the guys in here need this, or this is what's happening over here, retract, or let's prepare for drought, or let's take like these trees are needing this, so how can we exchange nutrients, how can we help the trees, or are we are being attacked, what genes do we need to express so that we survive.
And so when we ingest mushrooms, does that help our body to do all of those things as well? And to like adapt and move and give nutrients where it
I
needs?
think they do. I think they just like transferring those nutrients to us, or their
Mm.
nutrients. Um, there's a lot of research in terms of like the microbiome,
Mm.
which that's when is a lot of questions sometimes. Oh, let's say if a fungi or if a bacteria is in, I don't know, in our food is resistant to this chemical, and or antibiotics, for example, which is a big problem in hospitals, and we ingesting that, and now that the research has shown the capacity of exchanging material, that means that can they exchange that material with our microbiome and make them
Mm.
resistant. It's just that constant, like, it's questions that we still trying to
Mm.
answer.
Yeah.
Like, how much is that transferring of information happening behind the scenes that we can't measure currently, or that we
Mm.
can't see? So is basically, we know some information about that transferring of signals or transferring of genetic material, but we don't have it all. We don't know because our technology hasn't
Gotten
catch
there
up.
yet?
Yeah, not there yet.
What does your intuition tell you about it?
I believe it does. It's basically the same as food. Like I think that if they're able to survive the soil, like or like very cold temperatures or very, very hot temperatures, they are able to survive a lot of like the enzymes in our body, and I'm pretty sure they are transferring information to
Yeah,
us.
amazing. What have you learned about yourself in the reflection of your love of mushrooms?
Um, I think the inspiration, like when I lean into, even if, for example, I have a very bad day, or what I don't feel in myself a day or whatever, but the moment I start, or anyone asks me any information about fungi, or is kind of like I go to another place. That's a place that is always, I don't know if call it happy, but it's always a place of certainty for me. And I think I tend to forget that that's as a place for safety, that knowledge sometimes. And I'm like, oh, in this panic state or whatever. Sometimes it's hard for me to come back and realize, hang on, I got that safety place, or that get back to myself. So I think for me, yeah, like fungi are there to remind me, connect again, get back to nature, like get back to the balance, and just keep them close to you.
Yeah. What is your favorite type of mushroom and why?
Ooh.
It's like asking you to choose between your favorite children, but
Yes, basically. Look, it's been changing a lot. Like Lionsmane has been like the baby, which I started it with, like in terms of my business. Um, oyster mushrooms, I love the colors. They're very aggressive in the way, like production wise. Um, Oh, it's so hard. I don't think I can pick, because like they're all so similar in the roots. I mean, they look, when you look outside of the mushrooms, the part that people can see, it's like, oh, they're so different. But in the parts that you don't see, which is the parts that I've studied the most, they're all so similar, and it's just impossible to pick one.
yeah.
I
All
can't
of the
pick a
mushrooms.
children. I
That's the
can't pick.
mushroom muse. That's the mushroom muse.
I can't pick one.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. I would love to finish with one last question. And that is, as you built your own business, and obviously you're really stepping into more of the public eye in regards to your expertise in relationship to mushrooms specifically. Whenever we do something like that, it's like we have to meet an edge around allowing other people to see who we are, right? And the potential criticism or the potential accolades both can actually provide quite challenging resistances from the unconscious mind. But I'm curious as to your journey in that, around your opening to being seen through the work and through your passion for mushrooms, and what you've learned along the way about yourself.
Yeah. I think this for the last 2 years, that's been like the biggest journey, is letting myself be, I think, vulnerable, and putting myself out there. Coming from an academic background, because that's where I have spent most of my life in universities. Um, is all about the knowledge and the certainty of citations and articles, and the science and the science of the science. But I feel that it's all so encapsulated in a place that not everyone has access to it. And I think for me, it's been that journey of every day stepping a little bit out of what has been my life for the last 13, 14 years, in that cocoon of science and just being guarded by universities and all of that. And just how about bringing that knowledge out in any capacity? So I think for me that's been the journey. Like I'm breaking the fears, especially breaking the fear of the way we scientists judge other scientists. And especially for me has been like, I'm not being judged by scientists all the time. And trying to step out of that it's been a lot of work for me. And every day I still doubt myself of what I'm talking about, or is this the right thing? Have I written off and everything? But I think it's just we all have a little gift. And anytime I'd say, so what do you do? I talk about mushrooms. So I love mushrooms. And I was like, mushrooms, this is the weirdest thing on earth. I'm like, no, they're magnificent. So I just think like if we just, all of us just share that little bit of love, whether it is our own kids, whether it's our families, our whatever, even whatever we are here to share it. And I think that's the place I have to step every day into, just and what I love, and that the people that are ready to listen about mushrooms and fungi, they will listen, and the other ones will not. Like the same I do. I sometimes ready to hear something, I sometimes don't, and then it will come back when I'm ready. And it's just coming from a place of openness and I'm being vulnerable. I think that's the place to be.
Well, I so appreciate that you're willing to do that, because I think you've got beautiful medicine to bring into this world.
No, thank you, Nerida.
You're welcome. All right. So how do people find you? How do they buy your mushrooms, and how do they follow you? Because you also share quite a lot of educational pieces, right?
Yeah, so I'm Lina the Mushroom Muse in all socials. I can share it in your socials too, if people, when this comes out to the public. But and then my products are at fungianas.com.au, and people just can find there. And yeah, all socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all Lina Mushroom Muse. And that's me.
Beautiful. Amazing. Well, thank you so much again for your time. I so appreciate you. And yeah, there's been some real beautiful gold nuggets here. And if anybody hasn't come across mushrooms and the world of mushrooms, welcome to the party. You have just found yourself at the edge of a rabbit hole that goes quite deep. So enjoy.
Yes, it does. Welcome.
Okay, that is it from us for today for the Enquiry podcast. All of the links that you're going to want to find is going to be underneath this episode. So jump along and make sure that you're following the people who do join us for the Enquiry podcast. I'm sure you'll agree they are absolutely phenomenal, and it is my absolute pleasure to be able to have them come in and share their wisdom with everybody. If you're wanting to know what I'm up to, jump onto my website, neridamills.com, and you can check out all of my opportunities to get involved, be they free things or programs or events. You can always come along and say hi. I would love to see you.